Coming to you live from Wonderlands. This is Optimal Play. I'm Brandon.
I'm Neelan.
And we are here to teach Madcala, a Wonderlands War game by Druid City Games, who provided us this copy.
Very nice.
This is what I call a casual how to play video because it's not scripted. We're not going to have fancy B-roll or anything. Neelan, you just actually need to learn to play.
I've never played this and don't know what it's about. I played Wonderlands War. This looks kind of like Wonderlands War.
It does look kind of like it. It burns your retinas in a similar way.
Sure, yeah,
right?
exactly.
With all the neon colors and everything. It doesn't really play like it at all.
Okay.
And I don't think that it's trying to.
Sure.
But yeah, so I'll be teaching you the game. You can ask any questions or anything as you go, and then we will have a playthrough on the channel shortly after this video goes up. So if you're watching this the day it comes out, check in the next couple days. Make sure you like this video and subscribe while you're down there. Don't forget to like it.
I absolutely want
And yeah, so Madcala is, you've probably heard of Madcala.
I have.
An, I think, ancient Egyptian
I know
board
it's,
game?
gosh, I know it's like definitely African, but I couldn't tell you more specifically than that. But like, sure, let's go with the
Yeah, yeah, I didn't do my research on that. But this is Madcala, except we are specific characters from kind of the Alice in Wonderland / Wonderlands War universe, and we are, it's a tea party, as you can see from the table here, and we are also fighting to the death. The objective, we're both going to start at the printed health on our character right here, so 25 for each of us. We have these dials. The objective is to attack each other and to reduce the opponent's health to 0.
Okay.
When someone hits 0, the game will end immediately, and the person who doesn't have 0
Easy.
will win. I have set up the board here. I'm not going to go through every step of setup. I generally think that when you learn from a YouTube video, you end up using that page of the rulebook anyway. So
that's true.
So I'm going to speed through that. But essentially, we have the shards set up as you can see in the rulebook. And for our demonstration here, I've chosen a character for each of us. I am Alice. This is my character card, which has a mine has a once per turn ability on it, but the nature of the ability might vary. And then I have these 3. They're called +1s. They're additional guests to the tea party. Although this one's a Vorpal blade, so how it's a guest, they take some creative license with that. But
I have the White Rabbit and a pocket watch and ascot, which is also maybe questionable as a guest, and a rabbit hole.
What? I actually don't know what ascot is or means.
Isn't it? It's just like a little cravat-like tie thing. Am I? Maybe.
I'm actually realizing I forgot to put 2 shards that start in those little
okay.
spots there, so just doing that. Yeah, so this is a package deal. Like you have the White Rabbit and the 3 White Rabbit +1s.
Okay.
I have the 3 Alice +1s.
Okay.
We chose out of something like 6 characters and just set up any tokens that are specified on those cards. We lay them out there. We can look at how those come into play as we go. And then any of these dark colored ones have little rings on them for shards. That's the number of uses. We'll talk more about that too. So the board is a tea party table made up of all these different plates that have our shards on them. I'm not going to overthink why shards are being passed around at a tea party, but that's what they're called.
Okay.
So it's made up of 2 sides of the table. The side with the tablecloth is your side, and this side is mine. It has a number of plates, and we each have this large plate with an envelope on it where a larger shard starts. This is called our home plate.
Okay.
Or home space. I think it kind of uses maybe both those terms. Maybe it's just home space. But and then these are just plates, and they each have an action on them. These symbols are the action that you will take if you activate that space.
Okay.
And so we're going to go back and forth, taking turns, and starting with a player, it's actually determined by a coin flip. Who goes first? There's a Mad Hatter coin in the box.
Okay.
We will take our turn. What you must do on your turn is something called the Move Shards action. And then there are several other things that you can optionally do on your turn before or after that. So let's start with the Move Shards action. If you're familiar with Madcala, it's basically taking a Madcala turn. You are going to choose one of the plates from your half of the table only.
Okay,
You're going to pick up all the shards from it and drop them one at a time clockwise around the table into the plates as many times as it takes to run out of them. And then whatever the plate that you put the final shard onto, that's the plate's action that you're going to take.
Got it.
So they do a handful of things with these different symbols here. The one that I just landed on in my example, this adds shards to your side of the table. So you have some extra shards in your supply. They can also get removed from the table, and you might kind of run out of momentum if you run out of shards. So what this does is it takes 2 shards and it always puts them on my home plate.
Okay.
So that's what that symbol does. These little explosions simply deal 1 damage to your opponent. So if I were to trigger this plate, I would deal 2 damage to you, and the heart is to heal yourself.
Okay, and that's just like 2 damage straight to me.
Yep,
okay.
yep. You just reduce your health dial by 2 in that case. I would heal for 1. You cannot go over your character's printed starting health.
Got it.
When you heal. Then there are a couple others. This card with a plus on it, tells you to draw a commoner card, which is this deck.
Okay.
There's not as many different ones as it looks like. I think there's a lot of repeats in here. But you when you draw a commoner card, you take it into your hand. You don't have to show your opponent. You have a limit of a hand size of 2 of these enforced at the end of your turns. So if you draw over 2, you can play them. Because it is one of those optional free actions on your turn to play these cards for their effects. I'll talk about those a little more in a sec. And then the last couple icons here are on this plate. You can either heal or refresh a +1 card.
Okay.
These cards, as you use them, tend to get turned face down until you activate that to turn them back face up again. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. And then finally, the home plate. If you land on your own home plate, then you get to do any action of your choice from these. So that's what this is. And this is a segue into talking about the large shard. This is called your doubler shard. Okay. If the doubler lands on your home plate, which means you probably picked it up over here and went all the way around to it, then you get to use any plate and take another entire turn.
Got it.
Anywhere else that the doubler lands, it does kind of what it says on the tin. It doubles the effects of the space.
Got it.
The doubler, if you pick it up, like if I picked these up, the doubler must always be the last one that you drop. So you basically must double your action if you picked that up at all.
Okay.
So a few more things about what's going on in the middle. You may have noticed that your actions might cause you to go start dropping shards on the other side of the table. So if you were to say pick these up, you always skip your opponent's home plate.
Okay.
You never activate it and also just never drop shards on it. So if you were to do this action, you would go 1, 2.
Okay.
But then even though it's on my side, nothing changes. You will trigger this as normal.
Okay.
And then in the future, if I want to pick up this plate and use it to drop shards and trigger something else, I use this one that is your color just like any other shard.
Okay.
It can even be the last one that I drop. And
Got it.
if your doubler ends up on my side of the table, I can pick it up, use it, and double what I do.
Okay.
The one exception is that I would still skip your home plate.
Got
so
it.
I can't, like, even if I have your doubler, I can't go to your home
Got it.
plate and trigger that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Any questions about that so far?
No, I think that will make sense.
Okay, yeah, that was the move shards action, which again, you must do every turn.
Okay.
But the other things that you can do, which I'll now talk about, you can weave in before or after that, or they might modify that.
Okay.
So the +1s, your 3 other cards here, they are generally free actions to do, which you can do before or after that mandatory action, or they might say a specific time to do them.
Okay.
And if they, there are 2 types of +1s. So most of them are called refreshable +1s. I don't know if that's a word, refreshable, but I guess Wonderlands is no stranger to made up words.
Right.
So, the refreshable +1s, they have a shard cost printed on them.
Okay.
So to trigger them, you have to spend that many shards. And what that means is take any of your colored shards from anywhere on the table and just remove them. Just discard them to your supply. So that can be a downside because I am losing some abilities to like loop around the table, that kind of thing, when I run out of shards. It also could be something that I intentionally do at a time that it takes one of my shards off of your side of the table and screws up the move that I think you might want to take.
So I can remove my shards even if they're on your side of the table.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just have to be black shards if you're the black
shards.
player, but they can be anywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And you can never remove your doubler. That will always be on the table. Nothing can remove your doubler.
Got it.
So like in this case, the Griffin +1, I would spend 2 shards, say, and they can be from 2 different plates or whatever. And this says, take your doubler from any space on the playmat and place it on a space on your side of the playmat. So if I had sent the doubler over here and I wanted to avoid you using it, like the Griffin carries it back to me, I would flip this back face down. This cannot be used again until it's refreshed, and the way to refresh it is with this plate that can refresh it, or other game effects that refresh it, but that's how they work. Then once it's turned back face up, I can use it again when I want to, spending its costs again. I believe that each +1 can only be used once per turn. So even if there was a combination of effects that would use the Griffin, refresh it, I cannot use it again at that same turn. There's one other type of +1s, which are these ones that start with some shards in these little circles here and have a dark text box. Those are called corrupted +1s. And those work completely differently. You follow their instructions still to use them at the time that they say to, or if they don't specify a time, they're still a free action to do. But those, you spend a shard from them to trigger them, and they are limited to that many uses per game.
Okay, well.
There is, to my knowledge, maybe there's a character that it's an exception to this. They are pretty strongly asymmetrical. There's no way to recharge those that I know of.
Unrefreshable.
Unrefreshable, right. Yeah, once they get, when they run out of shards, they do flip face down and they just stay that way. And in fact, I believe on the back of that one, there's a symbol here with an X through that refresh symbol as a reminder that you can't refresh it.
Okay, and then there's something else that happens on the back there, potentially? I'm not sure.
Generally, the back is just the same text is there that's on the front, which is like kind of a clever thing that I don't think I've seen much, that you don't have to keep like reminding yourself what they do. I don't know how it took till 2026 for me to see a board game that does that, but it's pretty smart. Yeah, so those are limited twice per game in that case because it has two uses. What you do with that shard, I said you spend a shard from it, but it actually should specify on the card what you do with that.
Yeah, this one says in particular it goes onto the playmat actually.
Okay,
so
yeah. And I think, so I watched some YouTube content from the Kickstarter, and that's a rule that changed. That used to be a base rule that when you use the corrupted card, its shard would go onto the table. But the rules now are actually that you, that refer to the card to see what you do with it. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is +1s. Any questions on those?
Nope.
Okay. Then the other things that you can do is playing a commoner card from your hand.
Okay.
So we can just look at a few of those. They just have pretty simple icons on them.
Okay.
I just realized those are upside down. Right side up for me, upside down for camera. So some of them are familiar from the plates. There's a few others, and there's a reference of, actually, is it on? Maybe it's not on our reference cards. The back of the rulebook has a definition of all the symbols, but
they look like they're fairly
there's
familiar.
some, adding shards to your home plate. Here from our examples, we see a couple new ones. This one lets you strike a shard, which means you get to choose a shard of my color to remove from the board.
Got it.
We've seen the symbols on muscle here. Hedgehog here that has the shards kind of pointing down in space. That lets you claim up to 3 of your colored shards from anywhere and return them to your home plate.
Okay.
So you can pull them off of my side of the table or wherever. You can see that symbol with different numbers. It is always up to that number, so you could do less, and it is always gather them to your home plate. It does not add them to your home plate if you don't have the option to add from the supply.
Yeah. Okay.
Which actually jogged my memory. Like I said, unscripted teach, sorry. My understanding is this is meant to be pretty rare, but one thing that can happen when you need to take that move shards action, if you have literally no shards on your side of the table, then instead of moving shards at all, you just place 3 new shards, 1 on home plate and 1 on each of the next 2 plates. And that is your mandatory action. You do not then move them.
Okay.
It seems like that's something to, like, you're probably doing pretty badly in the game if that comes up.
You'd probably want to avoid that if possible. Okay.
That's the rule there.
And remind me what this symbol was. This is just destroy one of your own? Or?
It adds one from your supply to your home plate.
Okay. Okay. Plus. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
The only other thing that you can do on your turn, other than use +1 cards and potentially your character's ability and playing commoner cards, is to, you can, once per turn if you want to, you can spend 3 of your shards from the playmat, discarding them to your supply to draw 1 commoner card.
Okay. You said as a free action?
That's a free action, only once per turn, but you can play as many of them as you want per turn.
Interesting.
And then, at the end of your turn, you just discard down to 2 if you have more. They're all pretty, for the most part, they're not trade-offy. They're kind of unambiguously good things. So I can't imagine that you would discard down to hand size instead of just playing more of them before your turn ends very often.
Makes sense.
Unless you have some character that does weird things with that. But that covers it. It's a pretty snappy game.
Yeah,
It
that
seems to me
seems-
like it's going to be 20 minutes tops.
That seems pretty straightforward.
And yeah, we just go back and forth. I think that the interesting kind of the intrigue of the game will come from looking at your optional moves or your options as far as moves and what shards that I'll put on, how that will affect your options if I send some over there and all of that. So yeah, I think that covers it.
It's interesting. Like I was expecting it to get like convoluted with like different like all of the commoner cards and that sort of thing. But no, it seems like it is just it's the Madcala game, the actions with just some of the spice of like these different abilities and cards, which yeah,
essentially, the characters are pretty dramatically different from one another. You're playing a little mini game where you're trying to collect 4 pieces of a pocket watch, and it lets you take like an extra turn that goes backwards, something like that.
Okay.
There is like the Cheshire Cat. Instead of a doubler, has this die that they roll, and like it replaces the action on a space, including for any other turns that go there while that die is there.
That's
like
cool.
So there's a lot of dramatically different things that I'm interested to explore. But
Sure, yeah.
the core game seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, then thank you for joining me to learn the game.
Thank you for teaching.
And thank you for watching. Once again, once you've subscribed to the channel and liked the video, I'm sure since you've watched this, YouTube will probably serve you right up our playthrough, which will be on the channel soon. So we'll look forward to that.
Yeah.
I guess that's a video. You can catch Nealon on the Board Game Barrage podcast.
Yeah, we're a podcast that goes out every 2 weeks, and we've been running for 8 years.
Yeah,
this February.
A real mainstay.
Yeah.
You've got to be one of the longest running.
I would imagine certainly up there.
I can only think of one other podcast that Secret Cabal is what stands out to me as having been around longer than that.
There's a couple of others I could definitely bring to mind, but we're not going to mention them.
No, and they may be older, but they're not better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it.
All right, so check that out. We'll be back soon with our playthrough. Until then, be optimal.
Bye-bye.